Z News. I have an exciting set of announcements for you guys for this episode. First and foremost, our pool party is reintroducing our Survivor NFL pool, now named Swimming to Shore. So the idea here is we just have you guys submit how many accounts you want of a 3-life or 4-life variety. You get to pick whatever you want, and we put you into a huge pool for the NFL season, and you just pick one team a week per account to win that week. And if they win, then you survive and move on. But the catch is if you pick a team for the week, you can no longer pick them for the rest of the season, right? So it'll be interesting to see what strategies people come up with. I'm excited to see you guys join, and hopefully we can make it a big pool this year and get it going for everyone and have a fun time, have a fun NFL season, and donate some of that to a good cause based on who wins this season. As far as Fantasyland goes, this is for our fantasy leagues. We have a whole set of fantasy football leagues that we're launching, and we're still looking for people. So if you're interested in, for example, a Superflex league or a Best Ball league, we still have a few openings left, and we are looking to fill those leagues. So if you know of anyone who's into fantasy sports, or you're into fantasy sports yourself, please check that out and let one of us know. You know who, and we'll make it happen for you. And that's that. And finally, for Board Gang, we have Robbers of Catan. I don't even know what season we're at this point, like Hunter mentioned, or Hunter will mention in this upcoming interview. But we are finishing up the wild card tourney of the ROC Elite Circuit. And so that's very exciting stuff. We have the final set for the gold match and the bronze match. So I'm excited to see what the results of that are upcoming. Check that out on the YouTube channel. We have videos every day for this tourney. I think they're exciting watches. So feel free to check them out whenever you get a chance. And with that, that's the Z News for now. As the last thing for Robbers of Catan, we do have the last tourney of the year coming up for the Wheat tourney. So feel free to check that out. It'll be a Forest tourney, and I'm very excited for that. I hope you guys are. It'll be the last one to qualify for the RSC Elite. So sign up. Slots are limited. You gotta qualify for it. You gotta play to qualify, and make sure you give yourself a chance. Free to play. And with that is the Z News. Upcoming is an interview with Hunter Kaufman. Honestly, he does everything for us. Everything we ever need, and I'm excited to have him on. It was good to talk to him, and here's Hunter Kaufman coming up.
It's good to have you on, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing well. Happy to be here. It's wild flashing back to when this journey with yourself and Zoltaba, even under different names in the past, began.
Right.
Couldn't really quite believe we get to where it is. We've come a long way. I remember even our very first fantasy football league game, last place, and I having to eat a Carolina Reaper. And,
yeah,
look at us now.
Yep. I was gonna bring that up too. We did punishments for like a couple of years.
I feel like I was the only person that ever actually
Yeah.
received the
So
punishment.
yeah, that's again 100% true. Because we did it for a couple of years, and both times last place got the Reaper, and the first year you got the Reaper, and you ferned it, you ate it, you ferned it, and you had no reaction to it. We had the video too somewhere. I'm sure we
Oh
have the
my god,
video.
that was it's still to this day. I'm never going to do it again. It gives
Yeah.
me so much street cred. You know, people talk about eating
Yeah.
spicy food. I'm like, oh, I ate a Reaper, and I will say, the video is a lot of me looking at the camera wide-eyed and going like, wow, wow. It was. It almost like, at least for me, like it transcended even like pain. It was just a completely different kind of experience.
Yeah, like super ethereal. I think I told you this before too, but I also ate the Reaper, um, not because I lost fantasy, but just because the year that one of my fantasy leagues did it as a punishment, everyone else just wanted to do it too, just to see what it was like.
You're
So
psycho.
yeah, I mean, you can imagine the scenes. I mean, I took it a lot worse than you did. I was dying there. They had ice cream out and stuff, so it was
Oh my god,
okay.
the ice cream and milk, yeah, huge. Like I've heard plenty of people like water. I think everyone knows you can't do.
Right.
People know about milk. The ice cream though, that was like a little dangerous now we're getting a little older to eat that much ice cream, but
Sure.
that was like it was like you eat ice cream and like oh it like gives you like 2 seconds of respite. Otherwise it just builds and builds and builds. And I don't know if you had this experience too, where for me it was like 30 minutes of just like my mouth is just experiencing all the
Yeah.
sensations, and
Yeah.
then it ends, and then it feels like I have this heat
Hmm.
radiating from my stomach, like not
Hmm.
like a heartburn heat, but just like a buzzy warmth
Hmm.
for the whole rest of the evening. It was like sometimes I don't know if you've ever like maybe had some anxiety, or maybe like I get this sometimes if I play like before I played basketball for like a big basketball game where your the adrenaline spikes and you
Yeah.
feel like these like
Sure.
pins and needles and this buzziness throughout your whole entire body.
Hmm.
That's how it felt for me after I took that Reaper, like for the whole night.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, you survived though. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I do remember when I did it at the time that I did it. Brian Wu. Brian Wu also did it, and his personal challenge to himself was to not, use anything to cut the heat for I think it was 15 minutes or something. And it was crazy, and he did it. He pulled it off, and yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys are better than me, but it's still, yeah, it's street cred, right? Like that's all you gotta do for
Yeah,
at
I
the
mean,
end of the day.
yeah, exactly. Even if you had milk and ice cream, or no matter how you reacted, you did it.
Yeah,
And at the
yeah,
end of the day, that's what it's
yeah. We'll
for.
take that. We'll take that. We'll take that. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Obviously, you're an OG. I guess everything started with fantasy, right? Fantasy football and everything. Um,
Not even fantasy football. Fantasy football was the first organized thing we did, but I
right.
even trace it back to like poker. Even poker
Yeah, sure.
played, yeah, because you and I we were say met the freshman year of college,
Yeah,
and I remember it was dorm poker games was when I first met you, and
yeah.
then that group of people that I met then expanded into football, and that fantasy football league was the start of what would end up becoming Zoltaba.
That was certainly part of it. Gadoo was just an absolute iconic area for me, at least, because poker was always there. Like whenever you wanted, it would just be on demand.
Yeah, it was like
Um,
any day you could go down, and there'd
mhm.
probably be anywhere from like 4 to 14 people
Yeah,
down in that common room,
right.
with GA down under playing poker. And
Yep.
I would say I never lost more than $80. I think I never won more than
Okay.
$100. It ended up
Okay.
being pretty
That's
okay for me.
better than I could
Not
say,
too rich.
honestly. So I mean, honestly, you probably got out at a good time. I also got out. I got out kind of, I guess, towards the end of the freshman year. Was when I really kind of waned from poker with them, but. Some of those guys kept going too, and it kind of,
Yeah,
it
there
gets
was
higher and
like
higher those stakes. So,
yeah. I mean, to this day, that's still most the best poker games I've ever played
yeah,
consistently. Now I I think you reached the point where you're an adult if you're not going to a casino or something like that and you play poker with your friends. I'm constantly like, oh, like this is super chill compared to, I remember when we used to play, it was intense. I used to hate going heads up against you too. I think actually my worst losing hand ever might have been against you. I think there was some hand, the gist I remember was, I think I had like maybe $60 or $70 in my stack, and I think I went all in on the river. And I want to say hit like trips, or I hit something really strong on the river. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking down at the board and being like, okay, like I think it was like you had to. I forgot what it was. I think you had to hit like. I think I might hit quads even. I remember you had to hit like a straight flush or something stupid on the flop, and you hit it after we went all in. And I remember being like, "Oh my fucking god!"
I actually, that's very possible because I hit a couple of straight flushes, and in fact a royal flush. When I was in Gadoo. So that could have been one of those hands. I remember taking pictures of every single one. Because
I remember being like, there was like one or two, I think it was like 2 cards in the deck that you had to hit to beat me. And I was like, oh, I felt so good. And then you hit it and I was like, oh my. At that time, freshman in college, it was like, it was a lot of money.
Oh yeah, no. And at the time too, like, I mean, you have to think also, we played so much poker that I hit multiple straight flushes and a royal flush.
We didn't play that much poker that you should have hit those.
I know. No, I definitely got lucky, but at the same time, right? The fact that us as a group even hit straight flushes as often as we, like, not as often, but just as many times over the course of the year, because people would play for hours, right? Like people all-nighters every night.
I was never the first one and never the last one to leave. I mean, it felt like to me games would start around 8 p.m. and they'd go to like 4 a.m. a decent amount of time.
Yeah. It would get worse sometimes too. We'll spare everyone from.
But we moved past it.
Yeah, we moved past it. We're less degenerate.
Gambling.
Right. This is the way we get it out now. By playing Catan for free.
But playing Catan for free, and then the fantasy pools and all that. Which I mean, it's great. I love it.
I mean, you've been involved in like every single thing we've done. Like, I mean, not just involved, like participating. Like, you've literally been helping us run everything too, right? So like that's a huge part of it. Where like, we have fantasy, we have the pools, we have like Catan is obviously back, and you've been involved in every single thing. You're the reason we have a YouTube channel in the first place for Catan. So like everything, it's like crazy how much things blew up, and obviously a large part of it is to you. Like, what is your favorite thing out of those 3 that we've got going?
Oh my god!
Pools and board games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm involved in pretty much everything because I enjoy pretty much everything. I can't get enough of it all. And in my perspective, it's one of those things where when there's, for example, fantasy, I think like I'm setting up this year through us, like I'm in like something like 6 or 7 different fantasy leagues for my current football season. And for me, it's really exciting. Like I love being able to do all of that. It's, I very much feel like, you do a certain amount of time and then you get most of the enjoyment out of it. And so it's just, I love the Catan. I love the fantasy. It's so hard to, it's like picking a favorite child. It's really funny too. You mentioned the YouTube channel. I was thinking about this the other day. I remember, COVID, I think for especially for our Catan leagues was a huge moment because that's where we we use that as a bit of a start. Yeah, blew up, and I remember on my personal YouTube account, I made some video that was like, here's how you play Catan.
Right. Yeah. And iconic.
And unexpected. Yeah. Well, I remember, and I did it for like Colonist.io. I made it for like our group, before our first season, and I was like, okay, cool, this is show people doing this. Just upload to my YouTube channel. Totally forgot about it. Like go back like a few years later, and like 3,000 views on it or something.
Oh my god!
It was like comments being like, "Hey, when's the next one?" I was like, what the heck is going on here?" And even to the point where apparently when you search me up, like, then my girlfriend was telling me this when we first met. One thing she did, she Googled me. I didn't do it. Didn't do that as well. It shows my lack of
Of
research. But
course.
she
Of
Googled my
course.
name and finds this video I made for our Catan League on YouTube, and I was like, what first impressions she had of me, and I was like, oh
Oh,
my god, if I knew the cascading impacts of this on my life, I would have
yeah.
taken a little bit more effort and put this in. But I mean, yeah, I can't really pick a favorite. It's all to me so integral to what makes Zoltaba a really cool experience in my life.
Yeah, yeah. That vid is going to define a lot of your life. It sounds like, which is great. We love that. We love
yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm like, man, like, what if I apply for a job? What if
Yeah,
I
everything.
not?
Just put it on your resume. I got like a 3,000 view vid. No big deal. That's great. Yeah, I mean, yeah, COVID was a crazy, crazy time. Like even at those, but at the same time, right? Like COVID was so different that people just wanted to kind of, I mean, people had to stay home, and then people just wanted to kind of find that connection in some other way, right? And I think Catan at the time filled a really nice need for a lot of people, and it was good for it. Like we got lucky in the sense that there was so much interest at the exact time that we wanted to pursue it, and we ran with it. Like this is when we had our first videos, like the video that you posted or the commentaries that we did. We did the first commentary together. I don't know if you remember, like on Twitch, way back when, and it was a crazy set of games to even like watch back. Like the moments of winning were just like we were going crazy, dude. It was so hype.
Yeah. Every time you and I are on the call together, whenever there's a win that comes out of nowhere, we
Yeah.
always lose.
Yeah, I always jump up out of my seat, and you're going crazy on the
I'm like,
play by
whoa!
play. Yeah, like it's just like it's fun, right? Like even for me, I think a lot of this, right, is like, you know, people obviously reach out and they're like, we love what you guys do, and that's really nice in itself, right? But like, I think it's also just I personally, at least for me, I enjoy at least as far as comes to this content creation or even watching these Catan games back, right? It gives me a sense of joy to even put these together and watch these games that people have played and recorded and sometimes commentate on them too, right? And it's just like very, very cool. And Catan is just such a great game. I think it's like it might be the greatest board game of all time to me. And I played chess a lot growing up. Like I was a super competitive chess player, and Catan is, I think, still better as an overall game for the balancing, for the variety, for the strategy, the social aspect, spatial aspect. Like it's just like a great combination of a lot of different factors.
Yeah,
So it was a good game
I
for us to
agree.
rally behind too, I
Yeah,
think.
and I think it works really well. I think the online format is a little bit different. I think
Hmm.
that when you play in person, games can quickly become 2 to 3 hour adventures of
Hmm.
arguments and cajoling and
Hmm.
bargaining. And on the online format, like, not to say people don't have discussions, but because the way the game is structured and because online you can have turn clocks, the games are a lot snappier. Like,
Yeah.
I think in real life games, there's not often a moment where you're like, I don't know who's going to win in the next 30
Right.
seconds, but I know someone's going to win. But when we do these online games, you get to see that, and it's
Yeah.
it's a really cool thing. It's something I think we just kind of tried to do, and like, I personally am a big Magic the Gathering player. I play lots
Hmm.
of other board games and card games and things like that. But there's something that's unique about the Catan experience, and particularly the Catan experience online on Colonist. And I mean, I don't even know what season we're on now, like 2015,
It's
something
something
up
crazy
there.
now. Yeah, I don't even know either. But yeah, we've been doing this for quite a bit, and it's good because we're getting the practice, we're getting the reps, we're getting good at running it too. I think, and it has its ups and downs, right? But that's everything, and I think that's the point. Is like we've kept it going, we've kept it consistent, and that itself is very admirable in its own right, right? And
Yeah,
I've
and
enjoyed
it's
every part of it.
community.
Yeah, it's the community. Like
Yeah,
we're growing and people like what we're doing. And more importantly than we're growing is people are staying, right? Like that
yeah,
to me is like what's a marker for like our success, right? Like people like what we do enough to stay. So yeah, I mean, obviously like I've mentioned, right? Like you're running a lot of like everything that we do, right? Like you have a hand in every, like even fantasy baseball. I have no hand in fantasy baseball, and you're like part of that, right? Like so, there's so much that we're doing, and like yeah, you've always been such a huge part of it. But I will say, the other reason you are super famous, let's say, in the Zoltaba lore, is for your win
Oh
in our
no.
iconic Survivor pool. Having, I think it was the only perfect account, right, in that year?
Yes, I think I've had the only perfect. We didn't have one the last season, did we?
We did have one last season, but we changed the
Was it? It was a for
splits.
life. Was it the for life team or?
That I'm not sure actually. I would have to look at that.
Yeah,
But
that. Oh, and that was God tier run. Big shout out quickly to Carrie Shandell, another longtime stalwart
yeah.
of our photography. He and I actually I have to give him a little bit of credit for the win. I actually remember, I think when I won, I sent him like $50 or something because
Okay.
he introduced me early on to like he has a really good system for like tracking his picks, and I was like, cool. He introduced me. I was like, cool. If I end up winning this whole thing, just like week 4, I was like, I'll shoot you a little bonus.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
And looking back on that experience, the hardest part was the first few weeks. I think I thought I was going to go perfect for like the last 6 or 7 weeks. I
Okay.
thought I had a good shot. I had
Yeah.
a series of I think in the first 4 or 5 weeks, I had at least 3 weeks where the team I picked like came back and won on the last drive of the game, and I
Okay.
I got super lucky, and I had a lot of picks that ended up being like, oh, it was a team that like I thought would be all right, but I was like, cool, and then it turned out to be like a team that ended the season with like 4 wins, and they got their one win the week 2 when I picked them, and they came from behind, which then
Right.
set me up down the tail end of the season where I was like able to pick my matches really well. But I was so radio silent, so I wasn't even checking the Discord.
Hmm.
And until I won, I was like, once I hit like 5 weeks left, I was like, I'm not going to communicate to anybody about any of this. I
Yeah, no
can't
bad
communicate
juju.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew on the Discord the whole time you guys were going back and forth, being like, "Oh my god, look at this run!" Didn't see any of that until after the last win, and I was like, "Boom, it's great." I was like, that's funding all of my fantasy for years.
There you go.
Between that and Carrie and I, when you put us together for football, it gets dangerous. I think we're the back-to-back defending co-owner league
Yeah,
champions, or
that sounds
back-to-back
about
finals.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, one thing I've learned in life, and this also goes to I think part of the reason why I'm able to get involved in so many things with Zoltaba is I I think I'm a master at playing second fiddle in a way
Hmm.
that it's the most complimentary way for myself as possible. I think that even when it comes to the fantasy team, comes to all the
Hmm.
work we do in Catan,
Sure.
I don't like my. I think that the people I get to do these things with
Hmm.
are amazing, and we wouldn't be where we were today if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for
Hmm.
Alex, if it wasn't for everyone that's involved in writing all of our stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to be involved, happy to provide a little bit of support because
Hmm.
for me, I think I personally get a lot more out of this than I put in.
I'm not sure about all that, but yeah, I mean certainly, right? Like you did earn the Survivor win. At the same time, though, we can't ignore the element of luck, right? Like, of course, that's a huge part of it when it comes to any big pool like that. And sports themselves are so unpredictable, especially the NFL is so unbelievably
Oh,
unpredictable. But at the same
law of
time,
large
right?
numbers.
Yeah, law of large numbers, 100%. At the same time, right? Like it takes so much strategy to even get to the end of a survivor pool, and I've only done that once so far, which was last year. So I know how hard that is. So to be perfect is through the entire
Oh yeah,
season is like a
uh,
whole different thing, right? Like that's
yeah,
just next
yeah.
level.
I felt like all my luck was early. Those last 6 or 7 weeks, I felt like a god.
Hmm.
I was like, boom, correct pick, boom, correct pick. Like
Yeah.
every pick I was making, I was like, I know this is gonna work, and it did. And it was great. I loved it. And I said, now the thing is, I play it. I mean, playing it every year. I can lose so many times, and I'll
Hmm.
still be up in
Yeah,
Survivor.
there you go. You just need one big win and you're set, right? And
Yeah,
obviously, like you said, co-owner champs back to back, and another really good shot at it this year, if I do say so myself.
yeah, dude.
So we'll
It is
see.
Carrie is a partner in crime on that co-owner
Right.
league. We work really well together. I think we are good at different things and enjoy
Mm-hmm.
different. Like I think that Carrie loves to live in the details.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to like get super. He loves to go and like look at all the big stuff. And I'll come in. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, like I'm like, tell me where to look, and I'm going to do some good. Like, I'll do 15 minutes of analysis on the numbers
Right.
/ give my opinion, and both of our combined success has been far greater than when either of us work by ourselves.
Yeah, and that's part of the fun too. I really like hearing that. I mean, I will 100% be taking you guys down this year. That's a promise. So, mark
Well,
my
I know
words.
that I know that there's some trade
There
negotiations
are some
going
trade
on.
negotiations.
So.
Yeah, we're in the final stages now, so we'll see if it comes through or it falls apart at the final minute, which it does happen every so often, But we'll see. We'll see. I think we can hopefully make something happen. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah, it's also like I said, like this part of the reason why I like being in so many, like I said, in over 5 different like fantasy football leagues. It
right,
looks like going to kind of season is that I think that you talk about like there's a lot of luck, there's a lot of things where it can be really stressful if you only have one opportunity
hmm
and you're trying to get it perfect.
yeah,
Versus I like the strategy of okay, I have a lot of ones going on, so I think generally if I make good decisions over the course of things, things will end up working out. And I think that for me, like look back on I think every year I look back on my fantasy football winnings. And I'm always like, I never win all or lose all, but I'm up overall. And that's
yeah,
the thing. I think
exactly.
it's like
And
it helps a lot to like not have to care about one week.
right, and I 100% agree with that. And part of my at least philosophy with fantasy, at least when setting payouts, is I want to make sure like you're not going to be like super rich playing fantasy, but you won't go broke playing fantasy if you're like decent enough, right? Like, for example, right, a main tenet is if you make the top half of the league, you should be able to get your money back. And I think that itself is like so balancing for you know the performance in the regular season mattering a lot. Where there's so much high variance week to week, anyways. At least, the regular season performance will matter in terms of actual payout, where if you perform well enough and you seed well enough, then you'll at least get your money back, and then from there it's just all house money, right? And you get to have some
Yeah,
fun.
exactly. Yeah, I think that is. I think that's something that we thought out really well. I think that
Mm-hmm.
for anyone listening that's thinking about doing things like this themselves,
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's true. I think that it's nice to feel like you're having something to play for and some reward for doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And but also the grand scheme of things, if you're running a fantasy football league and you have 10 players and each player puts in $50, like even if the whole pot went to the winner, which is it's $500, which is hey, that's great. But
Yeah.
also in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much.
Right.
And so I
Exactly.
think that and the feeling you're going to have from winning, say, $200 instead of
Yeah.
$500,
Right.
it's not going to feel that actually different. I think at
Right.
the end of it all. But the difference between getting fourth place and getting nothing, and getting
Yeah.
fourth place and like making
Yeah.
$20 or something like that, like
Mm-hmm.
you're like okay, cool. Like it becomes much more of a sustainable thing where you're like, yeah, I could do 5 of these at once. I could do
Right.
5 of these every year for the
Exactly.
next 30 years,
Yeah.
and not feel like I'm just throwing away money.
Right, because you just have to finish top half, right? And like for me, even right, we have our flagship league. I don't know if you remember last year, my team was terrible. It was absolute garbage. But I managed to somehow, I don't know how this happened. I won like the first 4 or 5 weeks straight, which was crazy in itself. But I managed to somehow make the top half. And I was like chilling. I was like, yes, that's all I needed for this shit team. Like I made my money back. That's good. And that's all it should be. Like if your team is shit, you still have a chance, And I think that's a good
Yeah,
model.
it's like I think we're almost we enjoy doing it, and
Yeah.
we're not trying to play this for the money. I mean, if I
Right.
was trying to just get the most money out of my time, all the
Right.
time I look at fantasy football, I could just get a second job. So,
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, like I think part of it is like it's not too much money where like, you know, most people I think in the community are well off enough where they can afford the buy-in. It's not too high, and again, it's not like they're just kind of throwing into the void, right, for hope at like winning a huge sum. They're just more so participating in some sort of community event, right? And that's supposed to be the goal at the end of the day. The money is there because we want people to keep trying, and we've had that experience without buy-ins before, which is why we have it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that that all comes through, right? So
Yeah.
that's really good. You're in LA, right? You're in LA right now.
Yes, I'm in beautiful, sunny Los Angeles. I mean, I love it out here. I know so many of the folks that we have in the Zoltaba are on the East Coast. It makes sense. We went to school. A lot of us met when we were at school on the East Coast, and friends of friends, and joined in. It is Los Angeles is amazing. If all of you guys moved to Los Angeles, I'd be very happy if we could do it in person draft.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll make that happen. Honestly, once we all become super rich, anything is possible. That's the goal.
Yeah. Once we just gotta not all of us. We just gotta get one of us that
That's true.
makes bank and then
Yeah,
pays for all of us to get together.
that's right. That's the way to do it. And we have a shot. We have a shot between all of us. Maybe you never know.
There's a few software people. You never know if they
Yeah,
found a company or
yeah.
something.
Someone might stumble into something. We'll see. But yeah. I mean, you grew up in LA too, right? This is your hometown.
Yeah, I grew. So I grew up. I like to say I'm more so like I grew up in California.
Okay.
My family roots are all from Los Angeles. My parents grew up when I was growing up, but they actually we lived up in the San Francisco Bay Area, but we'd come out to LA every vacation time. So I would say San Francisco, or specifically Redwood City in the Bay Area, Los Angeles. I mean, they both feel like home to me. I mean, even at this point now, looking back to North Carolina, it feels a little bit like home to me, but. It is Los Angeles is a great place, and honestly, for me too, a place like LA. I don't know if people live in other big cities necessarily experience this, but having a community like Zoltaba is actually really nice because in a place like LA, you can definitely have a social life, but it's a big city, and it's the kind of city where when you have something where a lot of times, I'm like, hey, I don't even need to go out and find new fantasy leagues and make fantasy leagues from friends and things like that. Oh, yeah. Also, not necessarily going to knock LA, but I would say the average LA resident isn't necessarily the craziest sports fan. But it's a great city. Can't recommend it enough to anyone that's listening.
Yeah, I mean, I did make my way out there. I think once or twice. I don't remember how many times, but definitely visited Cali multiple times. I think San Diego is my pick for best city in Cali, but
San Diego, I have such an unreasonable dislike of San Diego because of their sports fans. Oh my god, San Diego sports fans are so. If you're a San Diego sports fan listening to this, I want all the smoke because you guys are so annoying. So annoying. They are. It's crazy because the frustrating thing is, so in really particular, this for me comes out because I'm a Los Angeles Dodgers fan. Been a Los Angeles Dodgers fan since I was born.
Okay.
Parents are Dodgers fans. Grandparents are Dodgers fans. We have deep roots with the team. Padres fans. Oh my God! If they beat you, they are. Like, here's the thing: I don't hate on the Padres. I don't give a crap what the Padres are doing. But the Dodgers, dude, some guy gets injured, every Padres fan is like, "Ooh, yay!" celebrating like they just won the World Series.
Yeah, that's annoying as fuck, but that's okay.
But it is beautiful. My cousin lives down there. I will say, beautiful place. It is every day you're there. It is 72 degrees and it is sunny, and it is. I would say, continental United States probably the closest we do have to paradise, unfortunately.
Okay, fair enough. That's still a good shout. But how do you like LA then, in comparison?
I mean, LA is amazing. The thing that I'll always say to everyone about LA is not. I'm not going to call it an easy city to live in. It's large. Things can be pretty far apart than when you compare it to other places. But there's just so much to do in LA. LA, there's literally everything to do. Perhaps the only city that might have more to do in it than LA is New York.
Okay.
And guess what? We don't have to deal with crap like New York, crappy weather. The summer's
Mm-hmm.
humid. The winter's cold, wet. Like you've ever been in New York City, like after a snowfall, when all the snow melts and all the fucking shit and trash goes out
Yeah,
onto the
sure.
street. It is,
Dirty and wet and muddy and disgusting. Yeah.
yeah, and it's LA is not a perfect city. There's a lot of things that other cities could do better than LA on specific things. But like, say you're gonna, say you ever see those charts where it's like you see a lot of times like like Pokemon or something, it's like stats on an octagon or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
And there's a lot of cities I think in the U.S. that spike really heavy on one thing or another. Like
Right.
I've been to Chicago, for example, has an amazing summer, amazing but terrible winter.
Okay.
Chicago has some foods, has a great music scene. The food, I want the smoke too. Chicago, deep dish ain't it. LA
Okay.
though, LA gets like an A minus across the board. Like most other
Okay.
cities that you
Fair.
major cities probably have something to do better than LA. But LA is just the kind of thing where it's once you move out here, once you live here, and then, it's not necessarily cheap, but when you come, it's not New York or San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're here, it's so hard to move away, and it's just there's so much to do in the city. I love it and can never speak highly enough of it.
Fair. Yeah. So you think you'll stay long term?
Oh, I think so. I think that when I look to moving away from LA, it's the kind of thing where I need something really strong to motivate me. And lots of and LA is an amazing place too because what you can do is you can just move to a different part of LA and it feels like you're in a
Sure.
completely different place.
Yeah. 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 Fair enough. You play basketball a lot, right? Like you played a lot in college. Do you still play?
Yeah, still play. I mean, we got some great rec leagues out here. I'm starting to learn that your body catches up to you. my back hurts, my knee
Yeah.
hurts. It is.
Yeah.
I love it though. It's really funny. I think basketball is my favorite sport to play. It's
Mm-hmm.
also probably the sport I don't watch the NBA really.
Okay.
I watch the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I watch baseball. I follow the NBA. I
Mm-hmm.
love watching them play. College basketball fan. Can never really get behind the NBA. So people ask me if I'm a Lakers fan. I say, I guess,
Sure.
but like I don't know. I think the NBA is boring. That's also their hot take. It's a
Yeah.
boring to watch outside of like the really, really good playoff games. And honestly, though, half the playoff games either end up being, blowouts one way or
But yeah.
another.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like you shouldn't have like a finals game or a conference finals game where teams are winning by 20 plus points, but it happens.
Yeah, it does. I mean, especially nowadays because the scoring is just so much higher, so the variance is higher. But yeah, I mean that's a very
Yeah,
good point.
exactly.
Especially this last playoffs, there was just so many runs here and there. But yeah, fair enough. I mean, to be fair, right? Most people do end up tuning in the last 3 minutes of any good game, and then other than that, they just probably don't tune in at all for the most part. So it's a bit
Yeah.
different. But I will say for
I mean,
me,
yeah.
you know,
NBA.
yeah. I mean, I will say for me, right? Like, watching the NBA has been fun as of recent, especially since this Dynasty League has started. Because I've had like more of a reason to kind of follow these random teams and
Oh
players and
yeah.
stuff. So that's been really cool. But yeah, I totally get that. Like in general, basketball is it's not as highly rated as the NFL, right? And there's a good reason for that too, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you were to let's say pick a favorite player from the NBA, let's say let's go current and all time. Who are your favorite players there?
Well, all right. Current, it is. There's a few options. At the end, I really do think though I've decided I think my favorite player, and there's bias on me, but I
Mm-hmm.
do think I have to go with Anthony Edwards right now. He's
Okay.
he's my dynasty cornerstone, so I'm a little
Right.
bit biased. I love watching him play. I think that his shot selection at times sometimes could be better, but he
Sure.
plays hard on defense, plays hard on offense. He
Mm-hmm.
talk the talk, walks the walk. I wish for a bit for a while I thought my favorite player was going to end up being Zion. As a Duke fan, watching him play
Yeah.
at Duke was one of the coolest athletic things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets hurt a lot. And it's hard to it's just one of those things where it's Zion can come back to me. I come back to rooting for Zion a lot. Big Jokic fan. I fully believe that watching Jokic play basketball is top two most beautiful basketball players to watch all time.
Yeah.
The other one is Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I think that for me, growing up, in California, being in the Bay Area, I was never a Golden State Warriors fan, but I watched plenty of Golden State Warriors games since I had a good appreciation for him. I think a lot of people are almost like rediscovering how good Curry is in these Olympics because also everyone when people, he's for so long beating everyone's teams. Now people are like, well, I get to root for him. It's so fun to root for Steph Curry.
It is.
He does ridiculous things and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But when you watch Nikola Jokic, for me, part of the reason I don't like watching the NBA is because it just feels like an offensive player is almost too good. Mm-hmm. And because of the dynamics of the season, everything, it's like, okay, some player gets a little bit of an edge in the ISO move, and then that's the possession.
Yeah.
Versus watching college, there's a lot more back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And watching Jokic play, Jokic, you watch him play, and it is, if you love the game of basketball, he's insane. He does all these little things that are so smooth and so well done that you're watching just like your jaw is on the floor. Mm-hmm. And I said, I am a LeBron is better than Jordan person. I think that LeBron is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Sure.
But watching Jokic play, I think maybe my favorite player to watch all time.
Yeah, fair enough. So you think Jokic is your all-time favorite?
All time, it's tough because all-time favorite. If we just look at favorite, I'd probably have to say Kobe.
Okay, fair. So why Kobe?
Well, just because, as growing up, I was a little bit more basketball fan than I am now. I didn't care with my LA sports fandom, like the Lakers, and Kobe was just like, his aura was like nothing else. Mm-hmm. And I think that for me, also just what he has meant to me as, in the way that he went about being a sports icon, was very meaningful to me. I remember when he passed away, it was something like, of any celebrity / notable figure, whatever, passing away, his was maybe the only one that's ever actually, I remember, impacted me.
Yeah.
And, made me feel things. Yeah. And the thing about it is it's not necessarily because of who he was as a player. It's just his status as someone that was relentlessly pursuing greatness and was never satisfied, but did it in a way that I don't think ever felt obnoxious or disingenuous.
Yeah, I think it was definitely not disingenuous. 100%.
Yeah, and LeBron works hard. He works hard. Steph Curry works hard. All these NBA superstars, they work very, very, very hard. But the way that Kobe went about it, you hear stories of being people be on the U.S. national team in 2008 when he's getting older. He's there. He came in to save that team and play defense and bring grit to it. And people talking about I wanted to go work out before Kobe, so I got to the gym at 7 a.m. and there's Kobe with ice packs on his knees.
Yeah.
And so I think Jokic, fair player to watch. Curry, one of the most impressive, probably some of the most impressive singular moments I've ever seen. But Kobe, I think, is just, he's probably going to be my favorite for the rest of my life.
Yeah, probably the same here too, honestly, because I grew up with him too, and it was just a different experience, right? Just watching him growing up, right? Watching him growing up as a kid is probably just a whole different.
And I don't think people will ever really understand it. Hopefully someday they do. I know that for myself, I never really felt like I started to understand what Michael Jordan meant to those that watched him until they had the Last Dance documentary. So hopefully I'd love it if Kobe gets something like that for himself in 20, 30 years because I don't want his legacy to go away. I think that his legacy as a sports icon, honestly, I don't know if have a work ethic I do now. If I didn't have him as like a model.
Yeah, exactly. It was the exact same for me. Like 100%. Like without him, I don't work nearly as hard. I don't like nothing. Right? Like it was like truly he just shaped a large part of the generation. I think. And it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned Kobe was your favorite player of all time because this episode is coming out. Guess what? On August 24th. So good timing on that.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I mean, it'll. I think. Yeah, I think it'll stay with people forever, and I don't think I don't think you have to worry about necessarily people remembering him in a lesser light because it's about the impact you make, right? Like while you're still here, and he made such a huge, large impact, and he was still obviously like he was still making it.
Yeah,
Like it's not like he was done at all, right? He
yeah,
was
and,
still
yeah,
doing so much.
that's the thing. Yeah, and that's what maybe the reason why it hit me so hard is because it was so unexpected, and not only was it unexpected, but a lot of times you have these athletes that retire and they kind of fade away. Like Michael Jordan, for example, like he retired and he went off to go play golf and
Yeah.
gamble and run
Yeah.
run a NBA team into the ground.
Right.
But like Kobe, to me, almost like his prominence was bigger after he graduated. And I know maybe that's not the case when he was, compared to like when he was winning, but like his prominence as like a cultural figure.
Yeah.
I mean, he was at the forefront of like the girl dad movement and all these things
Yeah.
where it was like it felt almost like too, or we were like at a time when I was trying to move from becoming a driven, and honestly, I think a more selfish person to being more of like just like I care about the impact I have on those around me and the society around me. Like when I was in school, I was in college, and I was like becoming an adult and becoming a man.
Yeah.
And it felt like Kobe was kind of making that transition in a way himself, where I think that in his career he was so intense and he was so focused on winning that everything else was kind of like by the wayside. And then he retired, and it was like it felt like we're seeing this different side of him as a person that I thought could be really impactful, and he was taken away from us too soon. But it is life, and it is the kind of thing where we're all now here to carry on a legacy.
Yeah. I mean, we carry it on by living life according to the lessons we learn, right? So I think that's the most important thing, and we keep grinding. We keep grinding. So what's in store for the future for you? Like what are you up to these days? What are you trying to do in the next few years with your own life?
Yeah, I mean, it's just keep enjoying it, man. I think that I'm really starting to learn, like, okay, these are the things I like. These are the things I enjoy. These are the things I care about. And that's really, really fun. I'm very, very excited to be like, hey, like, just keep doing the things I'm doing and lean into them and get better at them and, really start to feel like, enjoy my time. I'm not trying to. I don't feel like I have any grand goals over the next few years, but that's kind of just because of the fact that we're at the path I'm on, the things I'm doing now, it all really excites me. I think that I have all these strong communities I've been able to be a part of and help build over the years, and it's rewarding. It's kind of like life is in no ways on cruise control, but the path is, I think, very much like doing the same thing, like doing Zoltaba stuff, continuing to play Magic the Gathering, eking the last basketball I got out of my body, and really, really enjoying it, man. Because I think that we're at a stage in our lives where we have the opportunity to do things, but we don't necessarily have responsibilities yet. I don't. I have a cat at home, don't have kids, don't have a mortgage. And so it's like, the world's our oysters, and I'm really excited to see what the next few years brings to all of us.
Yeah, it's a very interesting time in our lives, and a lot of moving parts, right? And I think that's the fun of it, right? We don't exactly know what the future holds. Yeah, never a dull moment, never know what the future holds. We're just trying to learn how things work, honestly. We
Yeah.
graduated, but it feels like, we're still young and very much still have a lot of maturing to do in a lot of ways, but
Yeah, it's like
that's
I
the
didn't
fun.
feel like I had college figured out until like close to the end. Starting to
Yeah,
feel like I got this post college life not figured out, but
yeah, but more so,
feeling
right?
like I'm set, like I have my foot in the door.
Yeah,
Is
more
how I would
comfortable for
say it.
sure. Like more used to it. Because after college, I remember for a lot of people, including myself, for sure. It was just a huge adjustment period, right? Because it's just like a huge culture shock in lifestyle and just the time that you spend every day. Like a lot of people didn't have 9 to 5 jobs before, like during college, right? Like they were doing school and uh,
Yeah,
doing whatever, right? And it's like it's a whole different lifestyle once you exit college, and getting used to that was a whole process for tons of people, and it's good to see, right? Like even though everyone kind of goes through that similar experience, people still find a way to kind of manage and adapt and evolve and grow comfortable with the new life that they've built, right? And it takes proactive actions to build that life, right? That's why it's so hard. But people do it. People do it all over the world, and it's good to see that people are able to kind of shape their way, right? Because it's a whole new phase of our lives and a whole lot of possibilities. Still a long way to go, all right? So still lots to do, and got to make it happen, right? Just
yeah,
keep at it, you know.
yeah,
But great, awesome, man. It's good to hear that things are going well and you're loving LA. I'll make my way over there soon, sometime, and I'll.
yes. Get it out here.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, I love Cali. I love the weather. I love the area. It's completely different from the East Coast, right? In terms of like just the geography
Oh,
itself, right?
yeah. It's such a departure. The vibes are so different.
Yeah,
But I think that it's chiller out here. I think it's
yeah,
more relaxed.
sure, sure. I totally feel that. I mean, it's just like so pretty there, like so beautiful. Uh, so yeah, I'll make my way over there for sure. Like it's definitely won't be the last time I visit Cali, that's for sure. So it'll be good, and obviously, you come back visit too. We'll make that happen.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. Any last words for the people? Anything you want to plug? Um, Anything like that for the
I mean,
millions
not
watching?
really. Like, yeah, like I mean, Zoltaba, we got all the good shit going on. We have all the fantasy leagues with the survival pool coming up. I know that there might be some more basketball league stuff coming up when the season starts. Catan is always ongoing, and who knows what we got next. I mean, we're always looking for new opportunities, and excited to see what comes from it. Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm excited, and yeah, I'll let you go. I'll let you go. I know you're a busy guy, and thanks for even hopping on for this. I appreciate it.
yeah. Thanks for having me, and take care, man.
Yeah, you too, Hunter. Take care. I'll see you around.
All right, bye.
I'm gonna tell you 3 stories about Kobe, and that'll be that. And yeah, the first story is um, today I met a third grade teacher, and it was very cool, and I learned a lot. And she was awesome, and more than anything, it just reminded me of my third grade experience, right? I was 8 years old. Like, it was so long ago, but I clearly remember it. And the reason for that is because third grade for me was a transformationally good experience. I was coming off a grade in second grade where things had not gone well, let's say, academically, right? I was the type of kid who talked a lot, who was very extroverted, and I got my energy of not having a sibling out on my classmates around me, right? That was my whole thing. And as a result, my grades suffered as grades would, right, with anyone. But I was in second grade, so it didn't really matter, except for the fact that I almost didn't pass through, right? So I do end up in third grade, and everything's chill. But I'm just like, I have to stop this. I gotta get my shit together. And as a third grader, as an 8-year old, I did say, quote unquote, I gotta get my shit together. True story. So I do get my shit together. My teacher that year was Mrs. Smithson, and I'll never forget her. And she was part of changing my life. She was one of the few mentors that wasn't a mentor for long. She was a mentor for a year. But she absolutely changed my life forever. And the only reason for that was because I was willing to buy in to her teaching 100% without question. And that was just something that I just like blindly committed myself to. No matter what she said, no matter how annoying or strict or mean she was, I was fine with it. And a large part of that was because Kobe was prominent in my childhood. That mindset of grit, hard work, determination, a tough skin, all that was instilled upon me as a child, right? As I grew up. And as a lot of people grew up, right? It wasn't just me, right? And that's why Kobe is so universally appreciated, right? But the point is, right? With this experience, right? With this attitude and mindset, I felt like I was able to adequately excel. Because Kobe wasn't about being average. He wanted to excel at every single thing that he did. He was super competitive, and more important than that, he was super hard working. I remember a ton of times in third grade, I would end up writing 10-page papers to a series of 5 questions about a 2-page passage. In third grade, I was fucking crazy. I was fucking insane. But it is what it is, right? I just overwhelmed people with my hard work at the time. And that's just part of what it is. You just have to work hard. And if you outwork everyone, there's nothing they can do. There's only so much people can do if you just outwork them. There's nothing at that point. And so that's what Kobe taught me, right? As a young kid, 8 years old. And then he goes to the 08 finals, and he loses. He loses to the Celtics as the Lakers. I won't say it's an embarrassing finals, but like, all finals you have to lose to the Celtics? Are you kidding me? And this is the first year that he has a chance at, actually beating, Shaq's 4 rings, right? He would be able to tie at 4, and then potentially get to 5, right? But he loses in 08. He loses. And what does he do? The legend goes, very next day, he's in the gym. He's practicing. Dribbling, shooting. Cutting. Sweating. Dripping, bro. Like, it's fucking crazy. This dude is going fucking ham. Next day, after losing the finals. Because he knows that if he outworks everyone every single day of the year, there's nothing they can do to catch up when it comes to the finals again. And he does make it to the finals in 09. And he faces the Celtics again, and he wins. And he becomes a 4-time champ, tying Shaq. And then in 2010, he goes back again. and win again. And he was a 5-time champ, overtaking Shaq. And that was absolutely huge for him as well, and his legacy. I remember the day that Kobe died. I think a lot of us might. I was just chilling in my dorm room. It was a nice dorm room. It was a nice life. I had a full bed. It was a single. And it's kind of a it's kind of a dark room because I end up keeping the curtain down in this one windowed room. Because at the time I was a degenerate. And degenerates don't like sunlight. They're like vampires. So it's a dark early morning. And I guess it wasn't early morning, was it? It was like more like afternoon. It was a dark afternoon. Maybe 1 o'clock. And I get a call from one of my friends right on campus, and he says that Kobe died. And it's not a joke, and Kobe really died. And I'm like, I don't believe you. And my girlfriend at the time is there, and she looks it up, and I look it up, and we confirm that it's true, and he literally died. And unbelievable. I think the reason it's affecting people so much is because, I don't think people really can, understand an incomplete journey. Like, think about like all the TV shows you watch, the ones you like and the ones you don't like, right? The ones you like are the ones that complete with a closing set of arcs. The ones you don't like are the ones who are rushed, or the ones who end too early, and the ones who drag on too long, where the arcs ending don't make any sense, or there are just no endings to the arcs, right? And those are the most dissatisfying TV shows. Those are the most dissatisfying movies, right? And I think a lot of this applies, right? Where Kobe just had way too much going on, and way too much left to give, and way too much going on in the tank, with his family, as a girl dad, everything that Hunter and I talked about, right? He had way too much, where we were robbed of that. Like, that was not okay. It was not okay the way it went down. It was not okay. His daughter being there, like, all the kids being there, all the random people, like, it's just, like, so too random. Too random, and what the fuck. That was the fucking feeling. It was, what the fuck is this? And fuck this. That was the fucking feeling. Okay? And it was just like so stupid. It was so stupid. It was so fucking stupid because we didn't get to see how his journey would end. We didn't get to see a complete journey there. We got to see a whole NBA arc, but there was so much more. There was so much more that could have happened. And that's how it is sometimes, right? And that's the brutal reminder, is that we are unconscious, and we all can lose our consciousness at any given moment. And that's a precious thing that we need to value. So yeah, I remember where you got. I remember where I was, and I'll never forget. And I'm in some ways I'm glad that I'm glad that I won't forget because I don't think I should be able to forget a person like him, right? And I don't think I ever, I ever would have, honestly, because he's affected me and so many other people too much, you know? So this is me rambling, and I have one final story for you. And then I'm done, I promise I'm done. And you'll be done with me in this episode. One final Kobe story. When I was about to turn 24, I thought about getting a Kobe jersey. And because I knew he was 24 more than 8, I wanted to get a 24, right? So it made sense to me at the time to get a Kobe 24 jersey when I was 24, right? When I was turning 24. I thought that would be very, very cool. However, at the time, right, I just didn't feel like the finances were ready, let's say, right? Like, I just didn't feel like I wanted to necessarily spend the $300+ whatever it took to buy an authentic NBA Kobe jersey, right? And that's what I wanted. I wanted the premium, authentic Mitchell and Ness jersey, right? And I didn't want to compromise on that. And $300 just to like send into the void was hard to justify because I had just started working. You know what I mean? Like it was barely a year, you know? So I didn't really want to like get into all that. So I didn't. And I ended up foregoing on that year for buying the Kobe jersey. But a year later, I turned 25 and I do finally get that Kobe jersey. And it looks great. I love seeing it on my wall. I look at it almost every day. And I'm really, really glad I bought it. And now I honestly regret not getting it earlier because it really is a great, great reminder. And I'm really, really happy that I was able to make it happen for myself. Um, I did turn 25 when I got the 24 jersey. So that feels a bit off. Because it was a year too late. It was a year too late.